Several key prophetic fulfillments are presently in progress. Preparation for the mark of the beast, emergence of world government, World War III, one world religion, the rebirth of the Holy Roman Empire, the Great Tribulation, and a Middle East peace plan are all moving forward right on God's schedule. We'll discuss some of these developments on today's edition of End of the Age. Well, I love this time of the year. I think one of the things I like about it the most is it's a time of giving. You know, the Bible says it's more blessed to give than it is to receive. And I have certainly found that to be true in my life. I have a wife who just absolutely loves to give, and we've been blessed to be able to do that. And so I know that right now, all of our hearts and minds are turned toward giving to others that we love and also to organizations that we believe in. And I would just like to mention to you here at the end of the year, please remember Endtime Ministries. We need your support. I believe that the year 2019 may be the greatest year of prophetic fulfillment that we've seen in 2,000 years. It's going to be that important. So your support becomes very, very vital. And if you can do that, I'd appreciate it. I've had a lot of our partners say to me, well, can I donate stocks? Can I donate bonds? Yes, you can. And there's a lot of benefit to it, because if you've perhaps had something that's appreciated pretty dramatically during the year, you don't have to pay any tax on it. You donate it to us. You get the value, a write-off as a donation of whatever the value is on the day you donate it. Plus, it comes to Endtime Ministries. We don't have to pay taxes on it. We can cash it in and use it for God's work. So if you're out there and you want to know more about that, you can call my daughter Jana at 1-800-ENDTIME, 1-800-363-8463. So right now, end of the year giving, it's the time for that. Since 2019 could be the most important prophetic year yet. Please consider placing Endtime at the top of your giving list. Well, we're going to talk about several prophetic fulfillments that are moving forward, and some of these articles that I just came across almost took my breath away. This one in particular. Sweden is on the verge of going completely cashless. What could possibly go wrong? This comes from ZeroHedge.com just yesterday. Sweden is rapidly turning into a cashless society, which seems like the utopian dream of many a governmental figure. What could possibly go wrong from the government's point of view? Isn't it ideal that they could soon digitally control every single person in the country? Actually, quite a few things are going wrong. So much so that even members of the government are expressing concern. Sweden is the most cashless society in the world. The change is happening fast in this European country. No cash accepted signs are becoming an increasingly common sight in shops and eateries across Sweden as payments go digital and mobile. Sweden is widely regarded as the most cashless society on the planet. Most of the country's bank branches have stopped handling cash. Many shops, museums, and restaurants now only accept plastic or mobile payments. Last year, the amount of cash in circulation in Sweden dropped to the lowest level since 1990 and is more than 40% below its 2007 peak. The declines in 2016 and 2017 were the biggest on record. An annual survey by Inside Intelligence released last month found that only 25% of Swedes paid in cash at least once a week in 2017, only 25%, down from 63% just 4 years ago. A full 36% never use cash or just pay with it once or twice a year. It's amazing. Cash is used so infrequently that the government of the country has demonstrated concern. And this isn't just in the big cities. A course in rural Sweden tells me that even in his remote area, the push to go cashless is omnipresent. And of course, there's concern of government control. Now, why are we even talking about this today? Because your Bible talks about a time when every person will have a mark or a number that they will use for buying and selling. It's never happened in the history of the world. The prophecy's 2,000 years old. And yet what I'm reading you, it's obvious. All of this can be fulfilled very rapidly right now. The prophecy is found in Revelation chapter 13, verse 16 through 20. It talks about the 3.5 years right before the second coming of Jesus Christ to this earth and right before the Battle of Armageddon. That's when this is going to be kicked in. It looks like you and I are going to live to see it. Well, the end time's not coming. The end time has arrived. You and I are in it right now. We've got a lot more to talk about. Stay with us.
In 2018, we've seen Bible prophecy fulfilled like never before. From the halls of the United Nations to the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, Endtime Ministries continue to reveal Bible prophecy in the news headlines around the world every day. Whether it's through our broadcast or our online Jerusalem Prophecy College, your gifts enable us to put vital, timely materials in the hands of those who need it most. Because of you, we have continued to replace fear with faith in the hearts of Christians around the world. As we move into 2019, we will see prophecies coming to pass at an even swifter pace. We will continue to see the preparation for a one-world government system and even more media censorship for Christians and outside thought. Because of this, we need your support. Your donation of any amount enables us to continue to broadcast, produce materials, and be a voice in the ever-growing censored media. To become a partner or to give a one-time gift, visit endtime.com or call 1-800-END-TIME right now. That's 1-800-363-8463. Your call says you care about the message of the end time and the gospel to reach others. Please call or go online now to give your best end of the year gift. It will truly make a difference. Thank you for your support. Please call or go online right away.
I have left a piece of my heart in Israel and her people. We would like to thank Endtime for doing such an awesome job with our Israel tour. We had the privilege to rub shoulders with Pastor Baxter. He is wonderful. Helene from Australia. Join Irvin and Judy Baxter May 2nd through 17th, 2019 for the Ultimate Israel Tour experience with a Greek island cruise. Go to endtime.com or call 1-800-END-TIME. That's 1-800-363-8463 to sign up today.
Now we're talking about where are we on God's prophetic timeline? And we're probably later than most of us think, because we have not one prophecy or two, we've got literally hundreds of them. But some of the major prophecies are of a one world government, of the mark of the beast, of the rebirth of the Holy Roman Empire, of a Middle East peace agreement between Israel and the Palestinians. And on it goes. There are so many specific prophecies given in incredible detail. Well, the one we're looking at right now is the mark of the beast. The Bible talks about a time when every person will be required to have a mark or a number in order to be able to buy or sell, in order to be able to participate in the economy. Now that speaks of a cashless society, of course. I mean, how many of us during this Christmas season right now We'll be picking up the phone, giving our credit card number, buying something, using a number. But the Bible teaches it's going to become even more encroaching than that. The Bible teaches that the one world government that's coming will use their control over the economy to force everyone to pledge allegiance to the one world government. The Bible teaches that unless you worship the beast or pledge allegiance to the one world government, the man called the Antichrist, that your number will not be validated. You have to do it in order to participate in the economy. Now that's where things are going to really get tough. Now, right now we're watching the cashless society coming at us. Sweden's the most advanced country. I want to continue on where we were talking about Sweden before. It seems rather ironic that it's the government of Sweden that's pointing out the possibility of trouble with government control in a cashless society, especially since they're considering rolling out a new digital currency called the krona. Just imagine if the government were in charge of the digital currency, the amount of control they'd have would be absolutely breathtaking. Could they simply make your digital currency invalid if you owed taxes or were suspected of a crime? Could they wipe out everyone's online accounts in the event of some kind of a bank holiday or economic collapse? If the grid went down in a long-term way, all you've saved would be lost forever. A short power outage would cripple communities. Every single purchase you make would leave a digital footprint, and huge amounts of personal data could be mined from it. And what about the possibility of online bank robberies carried out by hackers? The list of things that could go wrong is infinite. And of course, it all goes back to microchips. Another article from Japan is entitled "Japan Weighs Benefits as well as Health and Security Risk of Microchips." This article was published back in September in the Japan Times. The signs of a future in which humans merge with machines are appearing in Japan as people start to implant microchips in their bodies. But set against considerations of convenience are questions over potential medical law violations, health concerns, and security risk. Although integrated circuit chips are being welcomed by some people who see them being used for everything from electronic payments to unlocking smartphones, the long-term effects of embedding them in the human body are not yet well understood. At an information technology company in central Osaka called Atafuku Lab, Inc., President Takashi Hamanika, 39 years of age, waves his hand across a sensor on a door. A light flashes green and it clicks open. "It is really convenient since I don't need my keys," said Hamamicha with a smile, explaining that he had the short-range wireless communication device implanted under his skin between his thumb and his forefinger in February. So here we see another example, and both of these articles were much, much longer. But we can see that everything is moving toward cashless. Even here in the United States of America, 80% of all purchases last year were done cashless. And every year we develop more. As a matter of fact, it's almost impossible to get a real check from your employer anymore. I think it's required now for employers to withhold everything digitally, to pay you digitally. The government loves it that way. That way everything can be monitored and tracked. Well, the mark of the beast, the the technology for it is available right now. Now, are we ready for it yet? No, we're not ready for it, because you can't have the mark of the beast until the beast or the Antichrist is revealed. Now, that's at least 3, 4, 5, 6 years away. We don't know for sure right now. Once a Middle East peace agreement is signed, we will know for sure that the revealing of the Antichrist is 3.5 years away. The Bible is specific about it. And it's during the final 3.5 years, during the reign of the Antichrist, that the mark of the beast will be implemented wherever he is in power. It is going to be the ultimate mechanism of control. And the world's getting ready for it. Now, how did the Bible know this? How did the prophet John, how did he know that this would come someday? I mean, they had no computers, they had no cell phones, they had no internet. It was impossible back in 96 AD when the book of Revelation was written. And yet the descriptions are so stunning and accurate that they're undeniable. And it's coming to pass right now. Now let's look at another thing that's happening in our world. The Bible prophesies world government. This article appeared recently. Countries must give up their sovereignty, join the one world government. This comes from the EU Times on the 25th of this month. No, this statement wasn't something Adolf Hitler said many years ago. This is what German Chancellor Angela Merkel told attendants at an event on globalization and national sovereignty hosted by the Konrad Adenauer Foundation in Berlin on Wednesday, just this week. In an orderly fashion, of course, Merkel went on to say. She even went so far as to condemn those in her own Christian Democratic Union Party who think Germany should withdraw from the controversial UN Migration Pact. She has previously accused critics of the UN Global Compact for safe and orderly migration of not being patriotic, because that is not patriotism, because patriotism is when you include others in German interest and accept win-win situations. Her words echoed recent comments by the beleaguered French President Emmanuel Macron, who stated in a Remembrance Day speech that patriotism is the exact opposite of nationalism, because nationalism is treason, he said. Now, Angela Merkel calls for the creation of a real, true European army. This process of globalization has been going on for quite a long time. It really began back in 1957 when 6 members of Europe came together to form the common market. It has grown from then until today to 28 nations that have a common constitution, a common president, a common foreign minister, and their economies are intricately tied together. So they've been moving toward this dream of one world government, but they don't just see it for Europe. They see it for the world. Now, German Chancellor Angela Merkel called for the creation of a real, true European army during a speech to EU ministers on Tuesday in a rebuke to President Trump. The German Chancellor also called for a European Security Council that would be responsible for coordinating defense policy on the continent. Merkel spoke out after French President Emmanuel Macron floated the same idea last week, drawing the ire of President Donald Trump. Angela Merkel called for the creation of a European army during a speech to the European Parliament on Tuesday. In her speech, Merkel said, "What is really important, if we look at the developments of the past year, is that we have to work on a vision of one day creating a real, true European army." Now, notice this. NATO has been the center of European defense since World War II. And President Trump has been goading the leaders of Europe, saying, you are not living up to your commitment. You're supposed to give 2% of your gross national product toward the defense of Europe, toward NATO. You're not doing it. You're leaving the burden on the United States of America. So President Trump was chastising them, and they all looked at their shoe tops and said, yeah, we haven't done so well. But now, are they planning on doing better? No, they're planning on taking more money toward a European army because they don't want to be under the control of America any longer. Now, note, when money is siphoned off to build a European army, funds going to NATO are going to be diminished. This happens. A lot of people in America very concerned because they're blaming President Trump for alienating some of our closest allies. However, President Trump is right, and the people moving toward a one world government and a European army are wrong. The Bible prophesies that the kingdom of the Antichrist will be headquartered out of Europe, Germany, Great Britain, Russia, and the 10-nation union recently formed by Mr. Macron himself. All of these are going to make up the power base of the Antichrist, but the Bible prophesies America will not be a part. Now, it's going to look like we're being placed off limits, and President Trump is going to be criticized from Dan to Beersheba. However, he is right. We don't want to be a part of the one world government as it's depicted in Revelation chapter 13, verse 1 and 2. Instead, America is shown protecting Israel against the Antichrist and against the powers of Europe. Let's continue the article. We won't protect Europe if we don't decide to have a true European army. That's Angela Merkel. Now, shortly before Merkel spoke, Trump rekindled the feud on Twitter, writing, Macron suggests building its own army to protect Europe against the U.S., China, and Russia. But it was Germany in World Wars I and II. How did that work out for France? They were starting to learn German in Paris before the U.S. came along and bailed them out. Pay for NATO or not? Trump says it's your choice. But he's reminding Mr. Macron that it was only the United States of America and its intervention. I mean, France had already surrendered. They already were being ruled by a puppet government controlled by Germany until America came along, drove the Germans out, and reestablished France as a free nation. Now, what is America getting in return? Well, we're getting the cold shoulder. What's behind all of this? For a long time, the powers of Europe have wanted to be out from under the influence of the United States of America. They're going one way, we're going another. They're going toward one world government. We're going away from it. Now, they thought we were going with them under the Obama administration. And when Hillary Clinton was going to be the president, they thought that we were going to join them in their globalism and in their move toward multilaterally run the world through the United Nations. But then Trump comes along campaigning against globalism. He says, yes, we want to get along with the nations of the world, but we do not intend to surrender our sovereignty. We have a declaration of independence, not a declaration of interdependence. So the Bible prophesies a one world government for the very near future. The biggest feud in international politics today is between Emmanuel Macron and Donald Trump. They are crossing swords. What's the issue? Macron is defending globalism as the wave of the future, and Trump is saying, no, thank you. America will remain a sovereign, independent country. According to the Bible's prophecies, Trump is right. Macron is wrong. You know, I've had several people call this program, since Macron's name is Emmanuel Macron, Emmanuel being God with us, They've called me saying, have you looked up the name Macron to see what it means? Well, I did yesterday. And the word Macron means mark. Now, I'm just telling you the facts. That's what I discovered yesterday. You can look it up for yourself. The Bible talks about the mark of the beast. I am not saying that Emmanuel Macron is the Antichrist. I am saying, though, that he is pushing towards the 10-nation union prophesied in the Bible, out of which the Antichrist will come, and he is pushing toward globalism, which will be the wave of the future as the world moves toward a one-world governmental system. But there's two nations that aren't going. One is Israel. The other is the United States of America. There may be others, but the Bible specifically talks about those two nations will not move into this globalism progress. So here we are now. We're watching these prophecies come to pass with stunning accuracy. Who would have thought, even 50 years ago, how can you use a number to travel the whole world with no money in your pocket? Had a friend that went on a world tour for 30 days. She took $15 with her, that's all. The rest was numbers, plastic, credit cards. Well, wait till you get a chip in your hand, and all you have to do is wave it to pay for the bus toll. I mean, already in Israel, you can buy a little card, and you fill it up with a certain amount of money. Every time you get on the train, you just put it in front of the detector. It deducts it from your account, and you don't have to have money to ride the train. This is happening all over the world right now. So, are the end times here? Are we in the end times right now? We are. And we need to realize, if we are in the end times, what should we be doing? We have a course called Understanding End Times. It's 14 DVDs. If you'd like to have a copy of it, call us. 1-800-END-TIME.
Move Mountains with Irvin Baxter. This book by Irvin's grandson provides 30 days of devotion that will enhance your relationship with God and others. Authentic illustrations from early morning devotions at Endtime will help you find your purpose and eliminate fears. Commit to taking this 30-day journey and experience real life change. Get your book for only $14.99. Call 1-800-363-8463 or go to endtime.com/move.
If ever people needed to hear the unvarnished truth, it is now. There are some subjects that are not politically correct to talk about, but they're urgent. That's why I'm grateful for Endtime magazine. If you're not a subscriber, you're missing information that will impact your life. Endtime has a bi-monthly magazine that explains how current events are fulfilling Bible prophecy. You can get a 2-year subscription for only $29. You can also get a bulk subscription and pass them out to your church. We have gotten reports that Endtime magazine has caused spiritual awakenings in churches when they see the prophecies being fulfilled right now. You can start your own ministry and leave them in doctor's offices, libraries, laundromats. You never know if you might be responsible for saving someone who is searching for the unvarnished truth. That's what the magazine has done in many lives. Call 1-800-END-TIME. That's 1-800-363-8463 and get your subscription today.
If your station only carries the first 30 minutes of End of the Age, go to endtime.com and click the watch button to continue today's broadcast. You can also finish up later by clicking the archive button.
Well, in the first half of our program, we only scratched the surface because there is so much to talk about concerning the major prophecies. I'm not talking about minor prophecies. I'm talking about prophecies that are central for the end time. And they're all coming to pass right now. Now, we're going to be taking your calls in this segment of the program. If you'd like to be on the air with me, the number to call is 877-END-TIME. That's 877-363-8463. If you want to reach our operators, that number is 1-800-END-TIME. I mentioned to you the Understanding End Time series, 14 DVDs. that will bring you up. It'll take you from 0 to 95 miles an hour, prophetically speaking. In your prophecy understanding, you may be saying, oh, I can't understand the prophecy of the Bible. Oh, yes, you can. This course is called Understanding the End Time. I'll make you a promise. You will understand the prophecies of the end time. If you are not satisfied, send it right back to us, and we will send you whatever donation you gave toward that product, because we want you to be totally satisfied. Well, that's where we're living right now. What incredible times. When I read some of these articles, it's like it makes my hair stand on end. So if you would like to get your own copy of Understanding the End Time, call us 1-800-END-TIME. Simply ask the operator, and she may talk to you about some other things if you'd like to talk about those things as well. Right now, though, we need to get to your phone calls because there is so much to talk about. First of all, we're going to Robbie from Georgia. Hello, Robbie.
Hi, Brother Baxter. I just found out in the last couple of days about Emmanuel Macron's name.
Yes.
You know, his full name is like 5 different names. That can be calculated to 666. If you include all the letters of his name all the way across, the 3 spaces and the dash is 36 characters. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 all the way up to 36 will calculate 666.
Well, it's going to be really interesting. There's a lot of proofs about who the Antichrist will truly be.
Right.
And because his name is Emmanuel Macron, Emmanuel being God with us, the Bible does say the Antichrist will sit in the temple of God claiming to be God. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, his name, Macron, means a mark. Now You're telling me this. I haven't done what you're speaking of. I'm going to have to take a look at that. There's no doubt in my mind, Robbie, that the Antichrist is alive on the earth right now. I do not know who it is. I'm not willing to say, yes, it's Macron. I'm not willing to say that right now. But he's alive on this earth right now. There's no doubt in my mind about that.
Mm-hmm. Correct. All right, but I just wanted to share that. Like I said, just 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 and so on to 36.
Okay, appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's go right back to the phones. And Derek is calling from Ohio. Hello, Derek.
How are you, Pastor Baxter? Very quickly, I was wondering if you had seen in the news about this gentleman from, I believe it's Austria, not Australia, but Austria, Sebastian, can't pronounce his last name, it's like Kurz, and how he's coming up in the political ring and very young man. But I was wondering if you knew anything about him. I was thinking about the prophecy that talks about how out of the 10, 1 will rise and conquer 3, and how it looks like he's trying to do some things that will kind of outshine what's her name, Angela Merkel.
Yes.
I was wondering your thoughts about that.
Well, the new Prime Minister of Austria, he is very young, I think 34 years of age, and he has come to power very quickly. He has taken great pains to make friends with Israel. I believe he either has recently been to Israel or is soon to go there. So he's really been over backwards to try to show that he's friendly to the Jews. Now, you do realize that Adolf Hitler was from Austria. So when we see a young leader like this rise up from Austria, and knowing the Bible says an Antichrist is soon to arise out of someplace in Europe, then obviously it causes all of us to have a big question mark in our mind. We're speculating about some of these things, but he's certainly another person that bears watching.
Okay. Thanks for your call. Thanks for the call, and I enjoy the show, and continue to pray for you and your ministry. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We appreciate it so much. I want to pause just a moment before we go back to the phones, and I want to say to all of us, please remember to pray for our government. Whether you like President Trump or don't like him, please pray for him because he has huge decisions to make. It's just in the news today that he's probably going to release his peace plan early 2019 because there are elections coming up in November of 2019 in Israel. He doesn't want this peace plan to become a point of debate during those elections, so he needs to do it quickly now in order to keep from interfering with those elections. So we know that the Bible prophesies a peace deal will be signed between Israel and the Palestinians, and that will mark the beginning of the final 7 years to the Battle of Armageddon. I can't make any predictions. I cannot tell you whether they're actually going to get a peace deal done in 2019 or not. All I know is this, ladies and gentlemen. We have to work while it is day. The night comes when no man can work. Here at Endtime Ministries, we are gearing up just as fast as we can go to be ready for when they sign this peace agreement, because it is going to open the doors on an avalanche of revival like the world has never seen. And I urge all you out there, get your financial house in order as much as you can. I'm not asking you to worry yourself sick over it, but if you can liquidate some resources so that you can have those to work with, do it. If you can get your bills paid down as far as possible, do that as well. Because all of us need to be unencumbered for the race, the final 7-year race, which will culminate in the second coming of Jesus to this earth. So anyway, please remember to pray for our government, no matter who's the president or who is in power. Pray for all of them, that God will keep America one nation under God. Let's get right back to the phones now. Ken is calling from Indiana. Hello, Ken.
Hi, Mr. Baxter. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you well. What's on your mind?
Thank you. I want to thank you for your ministry and your show, but I wanted to speak to you about the Antichrist. And I know that we're here, President Trump's thinking about rolling out the peace plan. And I know the Bible doesn't specifically say that it'll come from the United States. So if, in fact, it isn't, do you think it's possible that Emmanuel Macron peace plan could actually be the work of Satan?
Well, Macron...
It does say he'll confirm the covenant, so could he possibly have the peace plan?
Well, Macron has said he does have a peace plan. Right. And if Trump doesn't roll his out right away, Macron says, I'm going to roll mine out. So Macron and Trump are head-to-head, diametrically opposed to each other. They're going in opposite directions. And then within the last 2 or 3 days, the foreign minister of Israel, Mr. Well, I can't recall his name right off the top of my head. I'll think of it in just a moment. Longtime foreign minister of Russia has said that Vladimir Putin is willing to host talks in Moscow. So we don't know exactly how it's all going to happen. We do know this, though. The Antichrist is going to be involved when the peace deal is concluded. But it won't just be the Antichrist. The Bible says he will confirm the covenant with many. So there's a lot of nations right now that are lining up to be a part of this big deal that President Trump has set in motion. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it all plays out.
Sure is. Well, thank you for taking my call, and I just want to put a word out there for everybody. I'm in the 5th semester of the Jerusalem Prophecy College, and I would just recommend it for everybody. Just really make the Bible come to life for me. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Ken. I appreciate you telling everybody about it. In case you are new here and you don't know about it, we have what's called the Jerusalem Prophecy College. We do have a physical college in downtown Jerusalem. However, we've got so many inquiries, do I have to live in Jerusalem to attend the college, that we got busy and we turned it into an online college. And now then we have around 2,500 students just in about a year's time. And if you would like to attend the Jerusalem Prophecy College, simply go to JerusalemProphecyCollege.com and register there and then enroll in your first course. Now, we don't really charge tuition. We just have a maintenance fee so that we can keep the doors of the college open. Most tuition runs hundreds of dollars per semester, if not thousands. Well, ours is a gift of $59 per semester. That's all. It's so low that it's almost laughable. But we did this because we want everybody in the world. The information is so absolutely critical for the times just ahead of us that we put it just as low as we felt like we could. So anyway, if a semester takes you 2 months or 3 months, it would be $59 for that particular time period. That includes all the lessons. You'll be listening to them on DVD, all of the quizzes and tests. You'll take those, push the button, the computer grades those for you. So you are going to get some kind of an education, and it's an education that we all need as we enter these times that we're in right now, because the end time's not coming. The end time is now. We are in it right now. And if people don't know that, they need to enroll in Jerusalem Prophecy College. Okay, well, thank you very much. Let's move now. Let's go to Jennifer calling from California. Hello, Jennifer.
Hello, Pastor Baxter. I have one quick question.
Okay.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I know that the United States is not going to be under the New World Order. So does that mean we're not going to be pressured to take the mark to buy our stuff?
In my opinion, Jennifer, that's exactly what it means, and we should certainly be thankful for that.
Amen.
But since we are fighting against the Antichrist, protecting Israel against the Antichrist, I see no way that we're going to be bowing to him to impose his authority upon our citizens, but instead we're going to be against him. So I do believe America is not going to be cooperating with the mark of the beast.
Okay. Thank you so much, Pastor Baxter. I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you, Jennifer.
Okay,
and I'd say to everybody listening today, we can be so thankful for that, but we cannot be complacent, because most of the world is going to be under the mark of the beast. And there are going to be your brothers and sisters, your fellow Christians, plus Jews all over the world that are going to be desperate to get away from the control of the Antichrist. And we want to be positioned to help them every way we can. So even though God has put us in this privileged position of not coming under the power of the mark of the beast, yet we cannot take that for granted. We have to be appreciative of that and be ready to help others. Let's go now to Virginia. Rebecca's calling from Virginia. Hello, Rebecca.
Hello, Dr. Baxter. How are you?
I'm doing just fine.
I wonder if you could talk just for a minute on your opinion of the location of Mystery Babylon and how you arrive at your opinion, and I will take my answer off the hour.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Rebecca. We are close to a break right now, and so that's going to be my first answer as soon as we come back from the break. If you'd like to follow me along in the Bible for this answer, Revelation chapter 17 gives all of the details we need. So turn to Revelation 17, and I'll be going through that to show you exactly who Mystery Babylon is, and we'll be back in just a moment.
In 2018, we've seen Bible prophecy fulfilled like never before. From the halls of the United Nations to the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, Endtime Ministries continues to reveal the Bible prophecy in the news headlines around the world every day. Whether it's through our broadcast or online at our Jerusalem Prophecy College, your gifts enable us to put vital materials in the hands of those who need it most. Because of you, we continue to replace fear with faith in the hearts of Christians around the world. Moving into 2019, we will continue to see prophecy come to pass at an even swifter pace. We need your support. Your donation of any amount enables us to continue to broadcast and be a voice in the ever-growing censored media. To become a partner or give a one-time gift, visit endtime.com or call 1-800-END-TIME. Right now. That's 800-363-8463. Go online now to give your best end-of-the-year gift.
The question is, who is Mystery Babylon? Mystery Babylon is referred to several times in the prophecies of the Bible. Now, it's not Babylon. It's a mystery Babylon. A mystery is something that is hidden. It's Babylon by another name. There are 2 complete chapters in the book of Revelation devoted to Mystery Babylon. The prominent chapter is Revelation 17. It starts out with, come hither, I will show thee the judgment of the great harlot that sits upon many waters, with whom the kings of the east of the earth have committed fornication. So the first thing we have is the judgment of the great harlot. Something, someone is destined for judgment. So our first question is, who is this woman? Verse number 18 of the 17th chapter tells us. It says, the woman is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. So it's a city with international influence. And then in verse number 1, it says the woman sat up on many waters. What are the waters? We don't have to guess any of this. It's all defined for us. In verse 15, it says, the waters where the whore sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. So the woman is a city, but yet she sits on peoples, multitudes, nations, tongues. Obviously, this is a city that's the headquarters for a vast international system. Now, the Bible says this woman was riding on the back of a 7-headed, 10-horned beast, representing the world government of the end time. And in verse number 3, it says that this beast had 7 heads. Verse number 9 tells us, here's wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. Now, what's the woman? A city, right? So the 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the city sitteth. I'd heard all my life that Rome was the city of 7 hills. But when I got ready to teach this, I thought, this is a serious charge. I better make sure I know what I'm talking about. I went off to the library. I was ready to dig in for weeks to research this. I went to the encyclopedia. I opened it up to Rome. Big bold letters, Rome, the city of 7 hills. I was blown away. Then it goes on to say in verse number 4 that the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet. There are 2 ruling bodies of the Roman Catholic Church, the College of Cardinals, the College of Bishops and Archbishops. The cardinals wear red, the bishops and archbishops wear purple. God is trying to let us know who this is. So Mystery Babylon is the false religion of the end time. It will be led by Roman Catholicism, but it won't just be Catholicism. It will also be Protestantism, because in verse number 5, it says, upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots. So not only is she a harlot, but she has daughter harlots that have been unfaithful to their Savior, to their bridegroom. So they're going to be together. The Bible prophesies that both Catholics and Protestants are going to follow the false prophet into an alliance with the Antichrist. However, the Bible also says there will be some people who are going to say, no, I'm not doing that. Revelation 18:4 says, come out of her, my people, lest you be a partaker of her sins, lest you receive of her plagues. Actually, that cry should be going out right now. There's so much corruption going on in organized religion. People need to be coming out, finding true Bible-believing churches. If you need more information about this, we produced a DVD called True Christianity versus False Christianity. Warning, if you don't love the truth, don't get this tape, this DVD, because it'll simply make you mad. But if you love the truth, it'll give you information that you absolutely have to have right now. It's called True Christianity versus False Christianity. It's prophesied in the Bible that in the end times, that most Christians, both Catholic and Protestant, would be deceived and they will follow the false prophet straight into an alliance with the Antichrist. You don't want to be a part of that. This DVD will show you how to avoid that. So if you'd like to have your copy, call us right now. The number to call is 1-800-ENDTIME. Ask for True Christianity versus False Christianity. Okay, let's get right back to the phones now, and let's go on Facebook. On Facebook, the question is, who is the restrainer that must be removed before the Antichrist can be revealed? Well, you're speaking from 2 Thessalonians chapter number 2. The Bible tells us that the rapture cannot happen until the man of sin is revealed. But then it goes ahead to say, but he who now restraineth will restrain until he be taken out of the way. So who is the restrainer? Some people have said it's the Holy Ghost. But yet you've got 2 witnesses preaching during the final 3.5 years, just before the second coming of Christ, are they going to be here without the power of the Holy Ghost? There's nothing there that says this is the Holy Ghost. But if you look at verse 6 of 2 Thessalonians 2, it tells us what the restrainer is. It says, but you know what restrains or withholds, that the Antichrist might be revealed in his time. Remember in the Bible when it says that when the fullness of time came, God sent forth his Son into the world made of a woman? Jesus could not come 50 years early. He couldn't come 100 years early. He came when it was time for him to come. The thing that's withholding the Antichrist from being revealed right now is it's not time yet. So the restrainer is the time clock of God, just like the time clock restrained the coming of the real Christ. The time clock of God is also going to restrain the coming of the Antichrist. And that's what the restrainer is all about. Okay, let's go now. Let's go to Pamela calling from Tennessee. Hello, Pamela.
Hi, good afternoon, Reverend Baxter. I wanted to ask you a question. I know the gentleman mentioned the peace agreement in France, that Macron could possibly be the one who, the Bible mentions, who would confirm the covenant, which would make sense if in fact Donald Trump doesn't have success. It's reported that he's supposed to roll out a peace agreement. An Israel representative said in early 2019, but now on the Sun's reporting that the world's on high alert with the tensions between the U.S. and Russia over Syria, which is at a boiling point, and that North Korean nuclear ambitions are also in the mix. But they're saying as the world comes under fire from terror attacks, escalating hostility between Russia and the U.S. and repeated shows of strength from the North Korean regime, a full-blown war could soon be more likely than ever. So would it make more sense that there'd be a World War III? Because this is talking about World War III, because it mentioned back in June 7, 2018, that Vladimir Putin said that World War III would lead to the end of civilization. He said the U.S. should stop imposing its own rules on other countries and avoid upsetting strategic nuclear balance. To avoid this, would make, in some ways, more sense if these leaders are going to be signing this peace agreement, Putin and some of the others, and then all of a sudden go into World War III. It doesn't. It seems like it would be the opposite, that the World War III would happen, and then a peace agreement measure would come into play, possibly with Macron. I don't know if France would be involved in World War III. Would France be involved if there were a World War III?
Well, Pamela, you've put a lot of information here on the table, but here's what we know about World War III. It must start from the Euphrates River area. That's
right.
Number one. That means it will have its roots there, but will it stay there? Not possible, because you cannot have a war that kills 2.5 billion just centered in the Middle East. It is going to become a world war. Once it spreads, that's the way World War works. People come out of the shadows and they start trying to settle scores. So I would suspect that when World War III hits, you may see a war between North Korea and South Korea. You may see a war between Taiwan and China. All of the controversies that have been boiling quietly below the surface for so long, they could be boiling to the top. I cannot predict all of that. We may not know for sure how it's all going to happen. All we know is it is going to happen, and it looks like that things could be shaping up. There's a lot of turmoil in our world right now between Russia taking over the troops from Ukraine just within the last couple of days, and Ukraine threatening war. There's just a lot of things that are going on right now. There's a trade war between China and the United States of America. Where will that lead? We don't know, but all we know is the Bible says this war is coming, and we have to be ready for it. So that's the best I can tell you right now, Pamela.
Well, do you think the U.S. Will be involved in that World War III? And as well, what do you think? Is there a possibility? Because I've heard one minister, he was saying that technically the second coming, Jesus could come at any time. It could in fact he could appear at any time if he wanted to, and avoid all of the World War III and the treaty.
Pamela, he could if he wanted to rewrite the Bible.
Correct.
But according to the Bible. According to the Bible, he's not going to. The Bible says that day shall not come except there come a falling away first and the man of sin be revealed. That's 2 Thessalonians chapter number 2, verse 1 through 4. It explicitly says I beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord and by our gathering together unto him, that you be not soon shaken by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter, as from us, as though the day of Christ is at hand. That day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and the man of sin be revealed. So, God could rewrite the whole Bible, but he's not going to, because thy word, O Lord, is forever settled in heaven. So could the second coming happen today? No. Could he come for you and me today? Absolutely. Got to let you go, Pamela. There's a lot of other people waiting. A lot of other people waiting in line. So let me let you go. Let's go now to Ben, calling from Texas. Hello, Ben.
Hello, Irvin. Just kind of, I guess I'm kind of going off what your caller was just talking about. I know you wrote a book called The China War and the Third Temple, which is a very good book. But I was just wondering, like, maybe with all the talks of the peace talks and with the tariffs right now and the trade war between the U.S. and China, could that actually lead, into this the Sixth Trumpet War?
Well, there's so many things that could lead right now. America has really changed the balance of power in that we're the world's number one producer of energy right now. Now, Saudi Arabia occupied that position for a long time, as well as Russia's been up there. Now the United States has passed both of those powers. This is changing the power equation in the world. It's impossible right now, from my vantage point, to say what's going to trigger this war, but we know it is coming. And frankly, it could start at any moment, because there are so many things that are happening right now. We're just going to have to see how it all works out. We have to stay ready at all times, though. That's the main thing.
Yep, amen to that. Well, thank you, Irvin, and we love you, and God bless you guys.
Thank you very much, Ben. And let's go now to Steve, calling from Oklahoma. Hello, Steve. I got a little bit of time left. Hit me quick.
Hello, Pastor Baxter. I have a couple questions. One, a few minutes before I tuned into your broadcast, I watched a Next News Network report where it said French people are calling for President Macron's resignation. And I was just wanting to get your opinion on how that's going to filter into either him being the Antichrist or him and his country being involved with this 10-nation union and being the head of the Antichrist itself.
Well, the reason they're calling for his resignation, Steve, is because he is raising taxes on gasoline right now, and he's doing that in order to reduce the carbon emissions. That's his way of making it so expensive people can't afford it as much, and this has got the French people all upset. Whether this will result in his resignation or not, I cannot tell you, but that's what's behind it. They are demonstrating in the streets of Paris today, and they have been for the last 2 or 3 days. So we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen. We can't tell you right now. Well, ladies and gentlemen, great time together. So those of you that are still on the screen, I apologize. Please call back tomorrow. Thank you very much for being with us today. You're listening to End of the Age.
This has been End of the Age, brought to you by the faithful partners of Endtime Ministries. If you're not currently a partner with Endtime Ministries, or if you would like more information, we invite you to call us at 1-800-ENDTIME. That's 1-800-363-8463, or visit us online at endtime.com.
Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel and like our Facebook page.